Ladies and gentlemen, because Democratic prosecutors tried to create this fantasy that there was a racketeering enterprise with Trump at the center of this racketeering enterprise, because they tried to accuse 18, 19 people of taking orders from Trump. Now they have around 20 individuals who can try their best to appeal or move the charges or move their trials from state to federal court. This is going to be huge for Trump. Mark Meadows is in the process. If not him, then another person will be successful eventually in moving to federal court because they were part of the federal government. There are laws that state if you're part of the federal government, then what you do is either protected because you're part of a president's administration, or if you engage in something unethical or criminal. In this case, none of these people have. It's just blatantly Democrats going after the direct political rivals like they've done since the Steele dossier in 2016 and the Mueller probe. If you committed a crime as a federal employee, then you get to go to federal court, not state court. But here, judge confronts novel issues in whether to move Mark Meadows' Georgia charges to federal court. Once Mark Meadows is successful, or once any of these people are successful, the entire case falls apart because you get a more favorable jury and judge. Here, judge is set to rule soon on the first Georgia co-defendants' attempt to move their charges to federal court, a decision that could prove decisive for the future of the Fulton County, Georgia District Attorney criminal case. Former Trump White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows wants U.S. District Judge to allow him to switch courts to attempt to get his charges thrown out on immunity grounds. It would also widen the jury pool to less Democratic-heavy areas and likely prevent a televised trial allowed by state law. And it goes on, if Mark Meadows succeeds, legal experts say it would make it easier for former President Trump, who on Thursday pleaded not guilty, to follow in his footsteps. If Jones does permit Meadows to move, it won't be on the strong. It'll be because the atmospherics of the case. Well, okay, so they always find a law professor who says, well, if he's successful, it's still Trump is in deep trouble. So what took place, ladies and gentlemen, is that they have to accuse Trump and everyone around Trump of devising a scheme, which is nothing could be further from the truth. They went through legal channels. Everything was done legally, including that phone call. Okay? They are literally criminalizing a phone call because they said Trump pressured someone. He didn't pressure anyone in that phone call, by the way. Hit subscribe to this channel, ladies and gentlemen, to read my writing in The Hill, The Huffington Post, Shalom, The Jerusalem Post, The Federalist, other publications. Go to hagoodman.com. My Patreon is below, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to support my work long term. And my super thanks is below. Check out the segment prior to this one. These trials in Georgia will not conclude until after 2024. Okay, check out that segment. So Democrats are not going to get that wonderful boost in support that they think they'd get from the Georgia. If anything, in Georgia's a red state, as is Arizona. Okay, these are red states. The reason that Democratic senators, took over these red states, and in Arizona there's a Democratic governor, is because Republicans investigated Trump for something he didn't do. Republicans like Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell helped start or just turn their backs or gave tacit approval to the Mueller probe. The Mueller probe, for example, accused Trump, a Republican president, of being an operative of another country. This is only today's Republicans, or the Republicans of the past 6-7 years, would allow this to take place because Trump isn't part of the club. Trump brought home Americans from never-ending military conflict through the Doha Agreement and through his presidential orders throughout the world. Okay, the Department of Defense, according to some reports, even lied to him about the numbers of Americans in certain regions. He did not play ball with, if you want to call it the military industrial complex, or if you want to call it intelligence agencies. The system doesn't like Trump. So you have Republicans saying, okay, well, we'll side with Democrats and we'll allow a Republican president to be disparaged every single day for 7 years or so, or at least throughout his presidency. The Mueller probe took a lot of time and offered an opportunity for Democrats to publish through the Washington Post and New York Times and MSNBC, CNN, Atlantic, New Yorker, all these publications, the same publications that are going bonkers now when it comes to Mark Meadows moving to federal court. It gave them the opportunity to publish thousands upon thousands of articles saying that Trump was working for Russia. All of them were false. That's why 70% of Americans do not trust media. Actually, more than 70%. Every single article published in all of these prestigious publications stating that Trump was a Kremlin operative were false, fake, and information that misinforms. Okay, so the people who complain about information that misinforms spread the most information that misinforms. What do you then expect if you've accused a Republican president of working for another country, disparaged everything his personality every day in the news, just so you can get score little points with media, and then you say, oh, by the way, vote Republican in your red state, and then the Democrat barely wins? Well, what do you think? What do you expect was going to take place? They blame Trump's personality and, his demeanor for Republicans losing these red states. It was Mitch McConnell, it was Paul Ryan, it was the Republican leadership that allowed Democrats to just go ahead and run rampant with their libelous or defamatory statements about Trump for years and years and years. That Mueller probe was was a reincarnation of the Cold War. We had a Red Scare, McCarthy era world that Republicans were a part of. And then Republicans lost conservative states. Okay, Arizona and Georgia are conservative. Almost every county aside from cities. You can look at the map of California even, or even New York. Okay, there's a lot of red there. Most of this country is conservative. Okay, you have 2,300 major counties throughout the country. And mashed potato brains, our Democratic president won 450 something along those lines. Trump won 2,300 red counties throughout. Same thing with 2016. Okay, although Clinton won more, and I think Hillary Clinton will be the 24 nominee. I don't know how, but I just do. But anyway, look at media now. They're just, more apoplectic than usual. The New Yorker, Mark Meadows, and the congeniality of evil. Evil. Oh, so now it's interesting. When there's a person, by the way, that commits a mass atrocity, they say, we have to ban this. They don't ever talk about the evil within that human being. I have never really seen, I've never seen a liberal pundit condemn the evil within somebody that commits mass atrocities or within, a tyrant. But it's evil now to believe that Democrats cheat, which is basically what they do all the time. President Obama accused Clinton of cheating him in 2008. He won. He defeated Clinton, but throughout that primary, he was accusing Clinton of all types of shady and underhanded behavior. Clinton even created the myth, her campaign, that President Obama wasn't born in the country. Then in 2016, Debbie Wasserman Schultz was forced to resign in disgrace because, of course, they cheated Bernie Sanders. Then, according to Trump is up in 6 or 7 states, and then wake up in the morning and he's not, because everyone was afraid to go to the polls. Because, we can go on forever with that. Okay. They routinely cheat. And so you'd have to prove in Georgia and elsewhere that Trump truly believed he lost fair and square, which is completely, most Republicans, the vast majority of Republicans agree with Trump. So good luck trying to prove a racketeering scheme based on Trump not believing his own words. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now.